morning, everyone. Thank you very much for attending to our first TechRules webinar with BrightTalk. Today, we will be having a look at this new normal for wealth management, engaging customers, and communicating efficiently. This is Begoña Rubio, Business Development and Marketing Director. With me, we have Javier Carrallo from the Business Development. Hi, Javier.
Hello, everybody. My name is Javier. I'm part of the business development team. I've been with TechRules for more than 10 years, so quite a long way together. So far, it's been very exciting in a very dynamic sector. So I just hope that you enjoy the webinar that we have prepared today for you.
Thank you very much, Javier. We have as well Jaime Bolívar, Managing Director of TechRules.
Hi, hello. This is Jaime. I'm the Managing Director of TechRules, and I've been working at TechRules since 1999.
Yeah, it's quite impressive as well. So today we will be having a look at these new digital wealth management and customer-centric solutions. Then we will have a speech for communications and client expectations. We will highlight a point about artificial intelligence and financial planning to close the webinar with how to cover regulation with technology. So, Jaime, if you want to start.
Well, yes. As Begoña said, at TechRules, we provide solutions for wealth and asset management. And the following graph shows the history of TechRules, a bit the main milestones of TechRules. Then we started in 1999 building what we call investment tools like the T-Report and My Portfolio. We installed these solutions in brokers and for private investors to be more successful. Afterwards, we started building fund solutions, basically automating fund tax generation for asset management firms. And then we moved to wealth tech solutions. In 2008, we launched Tower, and this is now our main solution. Afterwards, we started building robo-advisor platforms like Gear Investments in UK and many others that we have built. And finally, in the last 5 years, we've been very active on building our API library or artificial intelligence technology. If we go to the next slide, this is we think the key trends in wealth management right now. We see new competitive patterns, new firms and new business models are coming into the business, so the competition is becoming much harder. There's a new generation of investors with a new mindset. They think differently, and you have to adapt your services to this new generation. And there is a merge between the retail and high net worth individuals in the demand of their solutions. I mean, they want the same assets, they want the same strategies as high net worth individuals. There is also an increasing regulatory, and you have to make much bigger risk controls into your solution, and also retirement planning and longevity concerns. You know, the value of holistic advice with multiple guys. So these are, I would say, the main key factors in wealth management right now. And I also want to mention two technologies that are becoming extremely important in any wealth management platform, like artificial intelligence and big data. We'll talk a bit later more about artificial intelligence and things that we're doing right now at TechRules. Okay, so now.
Perfect. Yeah. Thank you very much. Now we are going to have a look at client communications and how to embrace with our customers with technology. So this is the actual situation. With the corona crisis, portfolio values in many cases are down. Assets under management are a little bit down probably as well. Branches were closed from one week to another one. We don't have this face-to-face communication with customer in many cases. So less business and customer transactions are there, and obviously lower fee incomes are happening in this last few weeks. So the cost model is affected. We really need urgent transformation. We have to keep in mind that customer wants all information ready anytime and anywhere now more than ever. So things are really happening fast, and we really need to embrace digital transformation. Let's take into account that 50% of front-end retail banking transactions happens in the branch still today. And this is why in some countries we still have so many branches. So maybe we have to think a little bit about a new model that is coming and happening soon. We believe that in order to do that, we really, all of us, financial entities, providers, we need to improve client expectations and really move faster for digital banking. And from our experience, we know that leading companies have both these customer expectations covered together with reality. That's where it happens. So translate emotional concerns into intelligent marketing. For that, and obviously in the actual situation, let's be safe at home and use empathetic marketing, make all communications to our customers with confidence. We will be able to use WhatsApp, video, sharing our proposals or a screen, but be there for the customer. We really need to gain trust, and technology is working there for us. Make the distance irrelevant. Make it easy for our customers and advisors, because advisors are the ones that are going to be moving the market in most of the cases. So best-in-class customer experience for both of them, advisors and customers, is key as well. And we really should be able to put in place a fully adaptable solution at any time for all of us, because we really need to grow. So it's not just about communication, but communication that really helps the customer, that is transparent, or the technology is transparent for them and for the advisors. And that happens with technology that drives customer engagement. And that's the key for many years. So today, more than ever, we need this digital onboarding with superior using experience, with digital signature, with obviously it's going to cover all the GDPR, MiFID, or any other regulation in the world, but for the customer has to be simple and easy to use. All the integrations will be there, no matter if it's market data, integration with the custodians or the third-party provider or with the other management system. Again, has to be transparent for the advisor and for the customer, but has to be very well done and be there. The investment management piece is the key of most of our solutions and all provider solutions. So that's obviously has to be very, very stable and robust with proven technology that has been in the market at least 10 years. And reporting and communication for all of us, also for regulators, it's key. We will be addressing a point today regarding financial planning. That's a key point these days also for providers and for end customers. And of course, all our solutions and the solutions should be amplified. I mean, we should be able to use APIs whenever an entity needs to grow further than the actual solution they already have in place. Many times they don't change one solution completely for another one, but we can make it grow as far as they want to go. And the advisor, the front solution, and the customer web portal, they really need to work fast, easily, and everything has to be online and automated. So this is what we are working for. In the next point, we will be talking about artificial intelligence.
Excellent. So this is Jaime again. I'll talk about artificial intelligence and how at TechRules we're using 3 different techniques for different purposes. Personalization, that we're using clustering, market sentiment, that we're using natural language processing, and asset allocation, that we're using neural networks. So starting with personalization and clustering. What is clustering? Clustering is a technique that for grouping data points, to classify each data point into a specific group. And what we do, we are doing 3 things with clustering. One of them, that is the one that I'm going to talk about, is find investment alternatives. But others, like segment your clients or grouping your advisors, this technology is quite good, and it does a really good exercise. You see at the right of the screen is an example of a specific portfolio that is called ETF Growth. And because it's invested in European equities, it suggests you, why don't you take a look at these following ETFs like Lixer or iShare that other investors have in their portfolios, and these other portfolios have similarities to your portfolio. So it's a kind of Netflix, but use it for investment. Okay. In the following screen, well, I'll talk now about market sentiment and using natural language processing. That is the following technology that we're using. Natural language processing, what it does is, it's a computer trying to process a text or analyze comments about the users and trying to get if it's a good positive, negative, or neutral commentaries. Okay, so in the following screen, you'll see an example of what we do in one of our platforms. You see at the left, upper side left, in green is a positive commentary, neutral commentary in yellow, or a negative commentary in red. Market sentiment is the attitude of investors in front of the market. No? What do they think about a specific stock or a specific market? And you see below some Nasdaq stocks and how we transform this natural language processing into an opinion. No? We build a score we call market sentiment that goes from 0 to 10. And the higher this score, the most positive sentiment for this stock. In this case, you see here a net app. That is, we read all the tweets from the last week from people. What do they talk about? And you see there is a 61% of positive commentaries, 35% of neutral, and 4% negative. So this is a stock that people in general talk well about it. So it has this indicator has, I would say, a forecast characteristics. In the following slide, you see an example of Skyward solution, market sentiment compared with the Nasdaq. You see the right side, there are a lot of points, and you can see Skyward in the upper right side. Why? Because we measure what we call a quant score, and this quant score is quite good, but also there's a good sentiment analysis. And you see this graph, you see a lot of green. That's we keep history of this market sentiment. And in the last month or year, people in general have been talking well about this stock. And you see the price movement of this stock that is going up. So it's got a correlation. You know? When people talk well about the stock, then you should see, you should think that the stock is going to move upwards. If you see a lot of negative commentaries, maybe people is concerned about the stock and they may start to sell shares from this stock. Okay, let's move to the last technique. It's neural networks, and we use it for asset allocation purposes. At TechRules, we have a team that helps clients to manage their model portfolios. These model portfolios that are used for robo-advisors, discretionary management, or other purposes. But talking about neural networks, I mean, this algorithm, what it tries to do is to recognize patterns. And you see the graph below is an axon. An axon is from an axon you receive inputs, you process them, and you build outputs based on what you on inputs. Okay. And let me show you. This is our model portfolio services, where we offer asset allocation services, and we build these different model portfolios from very conservative to more aggressive. And what we do is with this technique, we decide what the asset allocation, strategic asset allocation is going to be based on these estimates from the neural networks. We've been doing this for many, many years, and it really helped us, and we have really nice results with many of our clients. Now I give the presentation to Javier.
Thank you, Jaime. I take over from here. So the next point that we would like to discuss with you today is how to make our advisory service more sticky and the different tools that we can make available to advisors so that our service becomes really valuable for the client. And this is what we call empower partners to achieve goals and generate more business. Now, to achieve this, we think that the best way is to get the client more involved, to engage the customer and increase the interaction. And we believe that financial planning and communications are two key points that we're going to discuss with you today. Now, if we do this properly, we should be able to A, industrialize the entire wealth management process, and B, reduce the operating costs associated with delivering the service in a big way. So I just put down a number of points here. All this functionality that we're going to talk about here today is available within our wealth management platform, Tower Wealth Management. So we include communications, financial planning, client segmentation and alerts, and then how to build a unique client site. Okay, allow me to do a quick intro on the Tower Wealth Management platform. This is our flagship product. It's been in the market for about 12 years now, but every year we come up with a new version, a new release that includes lots of new features from existing customer base that we worked throughout the previous year, and also our R&D team that is very active. Jaime talked about artificial intelligence, and they are working on many other fronts. So all this comes in the new versions. For example, last year, we did a major revamping of the front end, so it's more interactive and responsive. And we also launched an API version of the solution. So this opened huge opportunities, so we very much believe that open banking is the way to go. Now, in the Tower platform, we try to cover the entire wealth management cycle. So from the time the client walks in, through onboarding, we have to do the client onboarding digitally, to providing tools like financial planning, investment proposals. You can do different type of services with the platform, like advisory services, discretionary management, execution only. And then the solution can be hosted on the cloud, or we can do a hosting on premise. So I guess this is based on the security policy of each firm. Now, we always say that Tower is an 80-20 solution. So 80% is standard, 20% we can customize the solution to meet your specific needs. And this is a great advantage. What we do is that in the deployment process, we have a consultancy phase where we will define every single aspect and the gap that we have between the platform and your needs, so we can fine-tune in the platform and make sure that it really meets your needs. TechRules takes care of the entire deployment process, including integration, installation, and then support and maintenance as well. So we never rely on third parties on that front. All right, so let's move on to the first item, advanced communication channels. I guess there has been an understandable increase in demand for ways to engage and advise clients digitally. And well, during the confinement period, this has become even more obvious. So the need is definitely there. And now it's very clear that we're moving from the traditional way of advising, i.e. telephone, email, face-to-face, to a more interactive approach. So of course, face-to-face is still very valuable, very good, but very expensive, and not always possible to do it like it is today. So the idea of building a secure communication channel between the client and the advisor is something that opens a huge amount of possibilities. So as you can see here in this slide, talking about video conferencing, WhatsApp messaging, screen sharing, document sharing, you can do co-browsing with the client. So there are quite a few opportunities. And the thing is that we can recreate a face-to-face bank branch meeting. So the customer chooses if they want to have an interactive meeting, human interaction, which is just one click away. So I guess this is important for the new generation, where they have a different mindset, a different set of expectations, so we need to cater for them. But the reality is that this is secure and this is compliant. One key aspect of this is that every single transaction, every single touch point with the client needs to be recorded in the platform. So it's available for management, it's available for advisor, for clients, and also for compliance. The next item is financial planning. Again, we have seen a major increase in demand in this area. Everybody's talking about the retirement wave, so catching the retirement wave, and more people from our clients are looking into this area. It is true that it's not an easy exercise, so you need to gather lots of information beforehand. That is not always possible, but if you do a proper plan with the client, then it increases loyalty significantly. Now, our view is that what really works is a goal-based approach, i.e. saving for retirement, buying property, or perhaps saving for education. And not only that, but a multi-goal approach. So you need to combine the various goals all together, as you would do in real life. Then when you have the plan, you need to do a proper follow-up report and a follow-up of the plan for each of the clients. So you need to monitor future contributions, you need to monitor performance deviations or any other aspect that could actually deviate the original plan to the target. In terms of taxation, this is something that is still unclear because sometimes the advisor does not have the overall picture of the financial wealth and the financial situation of the customer. Sometimes we can provide specific information, but if we don't have the full picture, then financial advisors tend to stay away from taxation. But it's definitely possible to do it from our point of view. Now, one last thing on this. Usually the client has one portfolio that contains all the positions, but multiple objectives. And this is a little bit of a conflict sometimes because you need to be able to virtualize your portfolio into the various objectives and do a proper follow-up of each individual objective, taking into account the one single portfolio. With the tower system, you can do that. We've been working on this quite a lot, and it's possible to virtualize your portfolio and break it down into sub-portfolios to do a proper follow-up. Now, this is Tower Wealth Management, and you can see all the functionality that is available in the tool. So you can define the goals, define individual, define the wealth position, external and internal, analyze the best way to meet those goals. Then you can virtualize the portfolio, do a follow-up plan, and then keep the client informed through reporting, and very important, keep the regulator okay with the information that we generate from the system right away. Next point in the list is client segmentation. And we think that going forward, this is going to be definitely a very important aspect of providing the service. We need to break down our client base into different segments, and then we can address them individually, identify their needs, and then later on we can provide them or offer them the most suitable products and services. I guess this is particularly important for retail and personal banking, where we manage a large number of clients, but also private banks are considering this segmentation. So the typical one-size-fits-all in the sector no longer works, and we need to target our clients in a personalized way. So in the past, we've been doing a model portfolio for a specific profile and then just selling this across the board. Now we need to be much more specific. Even we should have preferences and restrictions for each individual client, so it becomes a really personalized service. And this is what we're trying to do with the Tower TechRules platform. So in Tower, you can segment your clients using risk profile, portfolio size, client size, or perhaps you want to do a combination of all these criteria. So for example, you want to have a cluster of clients, conservative, with assets of more than 300,000, with a deposit that is about to expire within the next 30 days. Then you take this group and then you do something with it. Like, for example, generate proposals or whatever. So you define the workflow and the service tailored to each individual segment. This is a business case of a real client of TechRules in Northern Europe, where they defined this workflow. So this was for personal banking, a conservative profile. They had a deposit next to expiration. They used to, or they actually generate a letter and generate a proposal. Now, the client received this information. If they are okay, then they do digital signature, and we can generate all the orders, and rebalancing process will take place. And then they have some KPI analysis that they can look at to measure the success of the campaign. Yeah, and I think this helps to reduce the cost of servicing the client and at the same time improve the quality, because you have personalized quite a lot. Now, in terms of alerts, what just mentioned is just one type of alert, but there are many. And at the end, we can end up with far too many alerts available for the advisor or the client, so it becomes useless. So we need somehow a procedure that allows us to select the most interesting alerts that we need to define who will receive the alert, when this alert will be received, and what type of alert we're talking about. And at TechRules, we have some algorithms that will allow you to do that. Again, when we do a deployment, there is a consultancy process that will deal with these situations. We understand your business model, and then we fine-tune in the alert system. Next item is a friendly client site. Up to now, the trend was that we built a client site that was similar to the advisor side, and we used to share the two. So whenever the client went into the office, they could share the same screen, and at the same time, the client was actually learning how to use it. Now, things are different, or things are changing. This is what we see. Now, the user experience is becoming much more important, and you can do anything you want to, really, when it comes to the front end for the client. Now, in our view, what is really important in terms of content is that the client can sign documentation online or via a mobile. Then we do have some portfolio analytics embedded into the site. Of course, a good repository of documentation, then able to communicate with the advisor via WhatsApp or messaging or a chat or video conferencing, as we saw before. And these are the basic requirements. So it has to be simple, intuitive, and self-directed. And sometimes we just provide the API for the client, for the institution, so they can build the on-site because the user experience sometimes they know what they want to achieve, and sometimes this is the best solution. Right. So moving on to the next item is how to cover regulation with technology. Well, I just very quickly. Whether it's a tool for asset managers, private banking, or personal banking, family office, it is definitely a must that we meet the requirement from the regulator. So we need to pay attention to the entire cycle, from the onboarding process, where we need to do a number of tests with know your client, risk profiling, and so on and so forth. We need to track that, make sure that everything is really fine. Then when building the strategies and model portfolios, we need to make sure that they're all consistent with what we have shown before and with the risk profile margins that we have defined. Then monitoring risk of client portfolios, defining risk boundaries, so quite a few things there. And of course, things like best execution, commission, rebates. There are quite a few things to take into account. Sometimes internally we comment that the regulator is unaware of the huge effort that is put in on institutions just to meet the requirements set by the regulators. They don't really understand the business. And now this, without technology, is impossible to do. Many clients are still using Excel and things like that, but it's very risky. So you need a strong and solid and robust platform to help you with this. Now at TechRules, every time we enter the market, the first thing we do is to ensure that the solution is compliant with the regulator. Today, we are in 19 different countries, so our solution has to be really flexible so that we can adjust the core system to meet the requirements. So far, we are compliant with MiFID, now MiFID 2, which is valid for the whole of Europe, but each country has the fine-tuning, so slightly different approach, and so we need to be able to adjust it. But also RDR in the UK, Prácticas de Venta Mexico, then we have other Latin American countries that are along the same way, but it's slightly different. And even in Miami, we have a situation where the bank itself is imposing some compliance rules. So for offshore Miami, it's a different ball game, but it still has some specific rules that we need to meet. Now, a typical flow is the financial advisor will be notified in case anything happens with their clients, and if nothing is done about it, then we can transfer that to the risk manager. But then again, it's entirely up to you to decide how you want to play this. Sometimes risk manager is the main role that needs to deal with this situation so that we can alert this person right away. And I think that's it. So I hand it over back to Begoña now.
Yeah, thank you very much, Javier. So as a wrap up we had a look at the digital wealth management and customer-centric solutions. We were talking about how to personalize experience for client expectations and communications in a wealth management platform. We had a look at different solutions regarding artificial intelligence and the new combination of science and human-based advisory models that are emerging even now with COVID even more. We were talking about financial planning and how to empower partners to achieve goals, and finally, how to cover regulation in different countries and different regions with technology. We believe in TechRules we have a unique value proposition that is gathering model portfolio services together with a very robust wealth management solution, being able to put in place as well a white label robo-advisor and even a do-it-yourself investor portal if needed. All of it focusing in a great customer and communication experience that, as for today, it's key and it will be there for the future as well. So thank you very much for attending our webinar. We hope to see you around again. Any questions, please drop them to the email you can see here. And stay safe. Thank you very much for attending.